Shalom, giving all praise to YAHAWASHI, Shabbat QADASH. Giving all praises to YAHAWASHI now, Shabbat QADASH. And I'm going to entitle this video, "The Sons of Japheth Are Not Europeans." The sons of Japheth are not European. And Edomites are Shemitic. Edomites are Shemitic. And other topics. See where the Spirit takes me. I didn't plan anything. I'm just going with the Spirit. And say a few things. Well, I'll say this. I watched the last Tariq Nasheed. Let me see. Give me a second here. This is a pretty good video. This right here. Not too many people watch it because they see what we call a small hat, but he tells the truth. He tells the whole truth. Doesn't mince his words. So you should watch this video. Okay, I just wanted to get. Let me see. Okay, let me see here. Okay, this is a video. I might let some of this play. It's 2 months ago. Exclusive. Why did Dalton, the Hebrew Israelite, escape America and move to South Africa? So currently, I guess he's living in South Africa. And this is a guy, if you don't know, Ronald Dalton Jr. He's the producer, director, creator of the movie Hebrews to Negroes. And there's three, you have Hebrews and Negroes 2, and Hebrews to Negroes 3. And if you go to the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, which the whole backstory is this guy. There was a pedophile, but he happened to be a small hat way back in the day. I think it was 1914 or whatever. And he was guilty for, pedophilia. And I believe it was to a girl, and he had multiple children that he was dealing with, supposedly, and he got, he was arrested. He went to court, and the jurors were all Edomites, so-called, Edomites of calls, not so-called, but Edomites, and I believe 6 of them were small hats, and they found the guy guilty, and he had a lawyer, a team, a defense team, which later became the ADL. That's what sparked the ADL, because what what they did was they got on the prosecutor, which he was an Edomite, and they said you're anti-Semitic. So anytime you blame it, if they do something wrong, if they steal something, you have a store, they steal something, and you say, "Stop, you thief," he'll turn around and say, "So you're anti-Sem. That's why you call him a thief." So that's their go-to phrase. It even happened to me. I had to pick up a family with a bunch of luggage going to an airport, And I said, there was 3 or 4 children that were anywhere between the ages of 2 and 4 or 5, no child seats, and there was too much luggage. So I said I can't do it. So the guy was trying to tell me, let's see if it'll fit. I said, look, I'm not going to break my car up just to see if it fits. I'm not going to bust out a window, break a doorknob just to see if it fits. I can see that it don't fit. I know my own vehicle. So we're arguing back and forth. His wife comes out. She's arguing with me because they don't care about your position. They think they're better than you. And that's another thing with these people. The small hats are trained to think they're better than you because they believe that they're the people. Just like we are to think that we're better than everybody else. Deuteronomy chapter 7. Most High chose us because he loved us and he made us better than everybody else. So he argues, and then he finally says, I know the real reason why you don't want to pick me up is because you're anti-Sem. And I told the guy, I said, you know what? I pick up Jewish people all the time. I have no problem with them. As a matter of fact, I said, they are my best passengers because they say, hi, how you doing? How's your day? They'll say, good evening, good morning, have a good day. They give tips. They give me good ratings. They say, you're a good driver. So I said, so if that's the case, I would refuse to pick them up. Or you're still an anti-Sem. So that's what they go to. That's what these people go to. All right. So with this thing with Ye, they use that phrase, anti-Sem, and with Kyrie Irving, also called him an anti-Sem because he saw a movie. So I saw a movie. If you want to watch it, watch it. And they saw the part where, according to the film or the series of films, that the Holocaust never took place. I didn't see the film. I'm not going to try to see the film unless it's given to me for free because I'm cheap like that. But anyway, I may see the film. But it's kind of backfiring on these people. And the real reason why they got on Kyrie and Ye, and we all know, and everybody's talking about it, you didn't open up a Pandora's box. It done backfired on you because now everybody's questioning, well, wait a minute. Ye said that we are the sons of Israel, 12 tribes of Israel. About a year or so ago, he said we were the 12 tribes of Judah. They didn't mess with him. But he got it right this time. We're the 12 tribes of Israel. Kendrick Lamar, Kodak Black saying I'm an Israelite. He says in several videos, I'm an Israelite. Kendrick Lamar said, don't call me black no more. I'm an Israelite. Don't call me black no more. That ain't fact no more. I'm an Israelite. However he said it. So you have a lot of Jakes identifying with, as the Vocab calls it, Hebrew Israelism. So there's a lot of talk about it with the Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon jumped back out and he's defending, because when you put somebody, you beat somebody down intellectually through the media, they feel them bruises and they kind of get mad. They say, man, we are those people. The nerve of them saying what they're saying, that we're not the people. We are the people. We are the people just based on the fact that we're saying that we're the people. Ain't no Chinese people jumping up, we're the people. Ain't no other group, we're the people. No, it's us. And it's and what really hurt, and see, the other Israelite groups, we're under the radar. But you got Kyrie, you got You got Nick Cannon. You you have many others, Kendrick Lamar, and many others that identify themselves with being Israelites, and they have a lot of influence. So they got to get them guys. They said, well, the other Israelites, the one Westers, are under the radar. But we got to get at them guys, knock them back down to keep the lie going. But anyway, I want to, you know what? Let me let you listen to a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to be all over the place. But there's a video. I thought I put it. Anyway, let me let you hear a little bit of this and see what comes to mind. The main subject is that the sons of Japheth are not European so-called white people. And that's what these groups, Ronald Dalton Jr. and who else said that? Somebody else said, a couple of different groups out there that are saying that the sons of Japheth are European, which is old school Hebrew Israelism, I'll call it. So let's listen to a little bit of this. Fair use, fair use.
Of course, make sure you share. It'll be easier transition to living in Africa, moving somewhere in the middle of Uganda. And we got back, and I think August, like 2 months later, the mandates. And, that was what she wrote. And a lot of Israelites that were seeking to move back to Ghana at the time that came with the group with us, they said, well, we're just going to, take a chill right now and see what happens in Ghana. And if things ease up, then we'll consider going back there. But I knew I wanted to get out of America this year. I didn't want to, wait till next year, because, with the house that we're releasing, the end of the lease was towards the spring. And I said,
Anyway, the prophets of the Lord, if you believe you're a prophet, we're supposed to stay in America. And the ones that are, you have Israelites in England and Europe, different parts of Europe, and even in different parts of the continent of Africa that are part of GMS, IUIC, so forth. But the main deliverance is coming out of America. And we are to stay here to get delivered. That's what the deliverance is all about. Matthew chapter 24 is talking about America. That's the place that's going to be set on fire. As I said before, if you go to Isaiah chapter 34, the Lord speaks to Isaiah and describes this current place as an altar. So if you have an altar, you have to have a spiritual man at the altar, right? That's Revelation 11. Also, Revelation 19 goes with Revelation 11, Isaiah 19, Revelation 11, Revelation 34. So this is an altar, America. So when they say, well, if you don't like it, you can leave the country. And we said, look, we're here because the Most High put us over here to condemn this place. The place that we got condemned, we were put in captivity. We're going to also be glorified. Because if everybody left, if Israelites left the country, where would the deliverance come from? Where would the salvation come from? Salvation, the word save is in salvation, which means you're going to be saved. You're going to be delivered. From what? From the destruction that's going to come. The righteous shall scarcely make it. So he's not a prophet. He's just a man. I'm talking about Ronald Dalton. He's just a man that knows he's an Israelite, but he doesn't understand he doesn't fully understand the scriptures. He doesn't understand the prophetic part of the scriptures. That's where the one Westers come in. First on the list is GMS. So let's listen to a little bit more. This is the first time me listening to this, so I don't know what he's going to say. But you know what I might do? I will most likely go into, like I said, I'm going to be all over the place. Let's listen.
We don't move to Africa now, then we're going to sign a whole new lease, and it's going to take us into 2023. And I just, in my mind, I said, you know, I'm looking at the grocery store prices. I'm spending more money at the grocery store. The gas prices starting to increase. I've seen a lot of difficulties in terms of, you know, trying to get a rental property or even get a mortgage. You know, people understand that things are getting more tighter in America.
Yeah, but it's going to get tight all over the world. And then in one video, he goes into the MOTB. If you go to one of his page, I think it's Hebrews and Negroes, Moses Levy, something like that. You know, you put those words in there, it'll come up to one of his pages. I don't know if it's his main page, but it's one of the main pages. And there's a couple, when you go to search engine and you put MOTB, write it outright. He says that another reason why we got to go to Africa is because of this the beast system. Well, guess what? It's going to be a world system. They're already implementing it in Nigeria. They're already implementing it in Jamaica. It's a world system. The model is China. So you can't escape from this. This is a world system. The Most High gave this man the whole planet Earth. So you can't escape it.
To live. And, you know, we're talking about middle class and lower class, maybe not for the upper class, but, you know, just for a working middle class Black person, living in America, especially with you know, as many kids as I have, is tough. You know, you struggle. You sometimes got to work two jobs. Both parents are working. The kids are in school. They're at daycare. You know, and with the way things are going right now, I'm looking at, you know, the news and with inflation and the quantitative easing, the quantitative tightening, of course the wheat and barley imports from Russia slowing down, and price of the food skyrocketing, and food shortages and monkeypox and different things of that nature. You know, I'm glad I made the move to South Africa, because for me it was a two-part reason. One was because I felt in my heart that the best chance of survival long term for my family was to move back to the continent and get out of this American westernized lifestyle that's all about.
You go to Africa, certain parts of Africa, I wouldn't say all, but most parts. First of all, you want to get out of this American lifestyle. The two dominant religions in Africa, the continent of Africa, number one is Islam. And why is that? Because the Ishmaelites, the Arabs, what they did was they conquered certain parts of Africa. So when you take down the people, if you're Islamic, guess what they're going to be? They're going to be Islamic. When we were brought over here in cargo slave ships to serve slavery, guess what our religion was? Christianity, Baptist, whatever. That's the religion of your slave master. When these people go into captivity, what do you think their religion is going to be? The law and statutes of the Most High. They're going to do what we tell them to do, and they're gonna understand that there's only one power, Yahawah, and the power head, YAHAWASHI, the angels, the Holy Spirit, and then, like I said, the first number one is Islam, and number two would be Christianity, because you had the Dutch and the British and so forth go throughout Africa and India. So when these Edomites conquered you people, what did they do? They gave you their religion. They said, this is what Jesus looks like. He's a white man. And what another thing that's happening in certain parts of Africa, if not all of Africa, is this skin bleaching thing. They're bleaching their skin, they're straightening their hair. I mean, you get dark, what we call Black Africans that'll look as light as Ron Dalton, and even lighter. So how are you going to get away from the American system? The American system is all over the planet Earth for the most part. If not the American system, the Islamic system.
That credit, you know, you're running on the hamster wheel, you know, and there's no end. And, you know, I work in the medical field, so I also see people in their 40s and 50s and 60s having strokes, having heart attacks, drug overdoses, cancer. And these things are happening, you know, at people with younger ages. You know, I'm in my 40s, and, you know, I see patients my age that are having strokes and heart attacks and cancer diagnoses and diabetes and chronic health diseases. And a lot of that stuff can be tied into the socioeconomic status of your household, what kind of stress you deal with in the home with your wife, with your kids, on the job, different things. Just looking at
we under the curses. We under the curses. Jake eats a lot of carbs. They load up on carbs. This so-called Thanksgiving, what are you gonna have? You're gonna have a turkey, if you can find a turkey, and then you're gonna have fixins, and all the fixins is what? All carbs. That's why when you eat chicken, you lay on the couch, you watch the game, whether it be the NFL or whatever, and you fall asleep. You know, we call it nigger-itis, which is tryptophan from the turkey, but then you got the carbs in there that slows you down, and that builds up acid in your system. You know, Jake's diet is horrendous. Horrendous.
at TV, seeing things you just see on TV every day, the shootings of unarmed black people, you know, the mass shooting in Buffalo with all, you know, the majority of black people shot, all these things.
Yeah, he mentioned Buffalo, right? Tariq Nasheed, last video, the first, I don't know, couple of minutes, he said something. I said, I couldn't believe he said it. You know, he came straight out with it. You know, that whole Buffalo shooting thing, and it's out of the news, you know?
Play on your mind in your psyche, and for, you know, people of color, African Americans, I said I cannot live my life and die in Michigan. You know, I said the other nations, they travel the whole world, and I said, why am I supposed to just sit here in my city, right next door down the street to my mother, or in 15-minute radius, and just because, you know, your parents want you to stay in America doesn't mean you got to stay in America, you know, because you only got one life. We haven't explored, you know, the globe, let alone Africa.
Actually, you have many lives. It's a reincarnation. That's another thing. So based on what he just said, I don't know if he believes in reincarnation. So if you ever confront him, if there's ever debate, pull up the reincarnation thing. Ask him if he believes in reincarnation. And I know the Old Testament only Israelites, they don't believe in the reincarnation. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's listen to some more.
And, you know, all the different people I've seen on YouTube, like Vanessa Camby and Bodhi Maya and Jay, and I'm looking like, man, like Africa has a lot to offer, you know. And I said, you know, if I could bring my family there, then maybe we might have a better life, or more life with less stress and more freedom and more opportunities. And the second reason why I came is because with the Hebrews to Negroes, League of Black America mission or movement, or whatever you want to call it, the movies, the books, I wanted to do the same thing here in the motherland. Now, I've been, you know, since 2014, been pushing books and movies, doing conferences, workshops, webinars.
And he doesn't have the full truth. When you say it to him, now tell him in his face, he don't have the full truth. He knows he's an Israelite. That's a good thing. But what he teaches is that we are the Jews, but the people in Africa are the Jews. And then, you know, mind you that you have a lot of Israelites in Africa, mainly on the West Coast. They're big on the West Coast, but sprinkled throughout Africa. But he teaches that all Africans are Israelites, which are supposed to be Hamites. How can you be a Jew and be from Ham? Doesn't make any sense. So he has bits and pieces of information. He knows a little something about the scriptures. He deals with the New Testament, the book of Revelation, but he's not a prophet. He's just a man that woke up to the fact that he's an Israelite.
You know, different things. He's speaking to different churches and all over the United States of America. You know, but it's time now for the people on the continent. I know the first book is called Hebrews to Negroes, League of Black America. Trust me, that book was also about the Caribbean. I'm not leaving the Caribbean out, but the motherland is a key place that I believe this awakening has to hit.
So his focus is on, Jake, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, the people of Africa. They're all the Israelites. The people of North, Central, and South America, when Columbus got over here, they're not the Israelites. But Fopi teaches that nonsense too. Those are the Israelites. The people that Columbus encountered were Israelites. And he brought with him interpreters, which was this guy, I always forget his damn name, not Tricino, Del Torres, Ben Levy. He was a #1 interpreter. I believe it was 5 interpreters, but he was like the captain interpreter, top interpreter, and he specialized in Middle Eastern languages, Chaldeic, Arabic, Hebrew. I believe it was 5 languages that he knew. Spanish was one of them because he came out of Spain. So why would Columbus, say, well, we need a Hebrew interpreter. We need somebody that speaks Hebrew, among other languages, because they knew that they were going to encounter the Israelites. They knew this. Columbus didn't make no mistake. They knew that they were going to encounter the Israelites. He mentioned in the movie, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if they put it in the movie. This actually happened, that the one with Debato, Conquest of Paradise, or whatever the movie was called. It was 2 of them made. I watched both of them. I made a point to watch both of them. I was already in the truth. And I watched it with a spiritual eye, open eye. But he definitely had Hebrew interpreters. He most likely read from the Apocrypha, because the Apocrypha was big back there. And he mentioned to this priest, the priest said, how can you be sure that the earth is round and not flat and you fall off it? And he mentions a series of books, and one of the books is the book of Ezra.
And we came out to good Africa because we come from Africa. Those are brothers and sisters.
And he said we come from Africa. He believes that the land of Israel is in Africa, in the continent of Africa. Currently, the land of Palestine, the land of Israel, is not the land of Israel. So he doesn't understand. Like I said, all he knows, he's an Israelite. He knows some things, but he goes off, and he teaches that the so-called white man descended from Japheth, which is like that goes back to the damn 70s. That's old school. That got played out with bell bottoms.
They have our same DNA. So if we're claiming to be who we say we are, as with Hebrews, then there's millions upon millions of Hebrews in Africa that need to get this message.
Yeah, but not all Africans are Hebrews or Israelites or Shemitic. The original people of the continent of Africa are Hamitic, not Shemitic. But he's lumping them all together. If you're African, you're a black African, you're an Israelite. Again, he doesn't understand this full truth. And a lot of you out there are going to get caught up in this mess because you're following different guys. And mainly the MOTB. A lot of y'all going to get shooken up. When they push that MOTB, and they push the jump shot hard, right? Well, guess what? When they push that MOTB, they're gonna really push it. They're gonna really push it, man. They're gonna threaten you with death. They may threaten you with death. They're gonna threaten you with you can't go to the supermarket, you can't do this, you can't buy and sell. And you got Israelite groups that can't see that shit. Well, I believe they sold out. They got a bag to keep that lie going.
A lot of things happening in Africa, and I'm sure you already know, looking at the other nations and seeing how they're getting down, how they're rising to the top, how they're staying at the top, all the policies and laws, all the different the struggles that we may face as African Americans trying to get citizenship trying to get permanent resident, trying to get long-term visas. These things are.
And for you Jakes that went out to Africa, guess what? They allow you to be citizens, so every citizen has to be a part of the Israeli Defense Force, the IDF. If you're a citizen, and that includes men and women. So all of these black Hebrews that went back to Israel, they got to join the military, and they got to fight side by side by the Edomites.
You know, in my opinion, there for a reason. But nevertheless, I still made the leap of faith to get my family on an airplane, which is a whole nother topic.
And that's how you can do a tutorial.
Yeah, but that is a whole nother experience. But yeah, that's the reason why I came out.
You know, when you were talking, and you were talking about the spiritual aspect of why you moved here, and you talked about how there are.
So I guess he lives in Africa too. Anyway, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me jump around, man.
When I got older, I graduated from college and was working in the inner city of Detroit at Sinai-based hospital in the west side of Detroit, level 1 trauma hospital. We've seen it all, you know. When I was working there, still being a Christian, every day in the ER was packed.
Okay, so he just said it. You heard it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. He said I used to be a Christian. And like I said before, the 95+% of Israelites were former Christians, not so much Muslims. That's a special kind of demon. If you get a brother that used to be a Muslim that come in to be in Israel, you did a great work.
You know, the hallways was packed full of people. They didn't have beds. They were just sitting in the hallway. You know, you walk down the hallway, people were just sitting in the stretchers, you know, drinking some juice and just sitting there complaining, like, when am I going to be seen by the doctor? Are you my doctor?
That's in any hospital in the hood. I've been to many hospitals and it's packed, it's jam-packed with people in wheelchairs, people moaning and groaning, stab wounds, gunshot wounds. Most of them is from diet related. So that's a curse. That's the curses. You don't see that when you go to the Edomite hospital. You won't be seeing no packs of people, you know, like Grand Central during rush hour. And that's how they go to do this experiment yourself. Go to any hood and go to a hospital, go to the emergency room. And it looks like Grand Central Station during the evening rush. Excuse me.
I had a white coat on walking the thing. And on a regular basis, you know, we see drug overdoses, alcohol intoxication.
Yeah, drug overdoses, alcohol intoxication, you know, also stomach problems, this, that, heart attack, strokes. That's either for one of four things. Stress. That's why when you eat this, you load up on carbs, because carbs is what? Considered a comfort food. Why would you eat comfort food? Because you need comfort. Why do you need comfort? Because you're stressed out. So we're still under the curses. These small hats are not under the curses. I worked around them. I'm talking about so-called Jewish communities. They are not, trust me, they are not stressed out. You don't hear no gunshot, no loud music. Nothing like that.
People coming in with stab wounds, people screaming gunshots, domestic disputes, people getting hit upside the head with a bottle, in the back of the head, in the eyeball, and all types of chronic diseases, you know, out of control, high blood pressure, diabetes, infections, cancer diagnoses, everything. And in addition to psychological factors, you come into the hospital with acute psychosis or schizoaffective, schizophrenic, gone haywire.
Schizos, that's from the curses. That's from the curses. And, that's also diet related too and stress related. So we're under the curse. So for Vocab Malone, that clown, to say we're not the people, look, the fact that we're still under these curses, the curses don't apply. Look, man, the curses do apply, even more so today. In the morning thou shalt say what to the Father, it's evening. In the evening thou shalt say what to the Father, it's morning. That's Deuteronomy 28. What is that, around the 66, 67 verse? I'm not going to go to it, but that's stress. Lord, please let me make it to the day, to the end of the day. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die, remember that? Them smart heads don't be saying shit like that. Excuse me again. Let's listen. Let's see what happens, man. I want to say some juicy shit.
And so when I seen all this on a regular basis, from the young to the old, I said, man, why are people destroyed? I said, I was going home like, man, our people are destroyed. And we can look at the houses on the outside.
They're destroyed. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
I was driving by the house in Detroit.
Because thou rejected, now I shall also reject thee.
You don't know what's going on inside the house until you see the people that's in the community coming into your ER with all types of issues.
And these are primarily African American.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, all African American. And so I was in church one day, and I was, really feeling heavy because working in the ER in the hospital, you get stressed out. A lot of ER doctors, they plunge into alcoholism and drugs because they constantly are seeing these negative things.
That's true. The hood doctors, they're on drugs too. They're alcoholics too. Man, Jake is messed up. Jake, either you're alcoholic, you got drugs in your system, or you got acid in your system based upon the diet. Either way, your body's getting broken down.
But when I was at church that one day, back to church on the afternoon service, I was sitting in a pew, and there was a Bible on the back of the pew. Just grabbed it, opened it up, and it was Deuteronomy 28. And so when I read Deuteronomy 28 from the beginning to end, you have the blessed.
I don't know if he made that up. It's he probably said, "Come on, you open it." He said it. We'll go with it. So the Spirit led him to Deuteronomy 28.
Since of Israel, which is the first 15 verses, and you have the curses of Israel, which is the last verses from 16 to 68. And when I read the curses of Israel, I realized, wait a minute, these are all curses that seem to have happened to Black people today that are in the community. Like he said, forgive me for cutting in. I've been around, like I said earlier, and I said it quite a few times, I've been around the small hat communities, the ones upstate and up in Muncie, up in Harris, which is from New York City. Muncie's, I don't know, 60 miles away, I don't know, from the city. I've been down to Brooklyn, Eastern Parkway, where the small hats live down there. I work with them, and they're not stressed out. They all doing good. They're all doing good. They ain't back on their rent. They ain't facing eviction. None of that stuff. So, when you read Deuteronomy 28, it fits you. And it's Deuteronomy 28 is not talking about one event. It's talking about many events that you go through. Babylonian captivity, the Assyrian captivity, the Greeks,
the Romans. You know, when you get down to about the 50th verse of Deuteronomy 28, when the siege is talking about Rome, but some scholars say it's talking about the Assyrians and the Babylonians. Yeah, it can apply to all of them. And then the part with the ships, we know what that's talking about. The part with the yoke of iron, that's talking about slavery. If you put yoke of iron, not Deuteronomy 28, just 48, just put yoke of iron, you're going to see pictures of Jakes with yokes of iron and shackles on their neck. You ain't going to see no small hats. So it doesn't fit them. They're not the people. They're not the people.
Community that are in, you know, the country of America. And when I read the last scripture and it said, I will bring thee into Egypt again by way of ships, and there you should be sold as bondmen and bondwomen or slaves, and no man shall redeem you by payment. Then I said, well, who else in history has been sold to other nations by way of ships in the process of slavery, like we know of today? And there's only one group of people that have been sold across the world, triangle slave trade and the Arab slave trade on ships. And that's the people that are known as the Bantu people, and they are a specific group of people in sub-Saharan Africa that share a common genotype or genes. And that's a whole other discussion. But that's when I started to ask questions to my pastor, my dad, and others, saying like, hey, like, who are black people in the Bible? And for the longest, a lot of times in the black community, in the homes, you'll see statues of, African sculptures and statues, and then you'll see Egyptian stuff. So then sometimes growing up as a youngster, you're led to believe that you may be related to King Tut, because people like King Tut. And, and I said, who are we in the Bible? What are we? And the pastor usually will say, oh, we're the Gentiles. And I said, well, where the...
That's what they told me, we're the Gentiles. All these churches that I've experienced, they all say the same thing. They acknowledge that the people over there in Israel are the people of the true people of God, and we are the Gentiles. So we get like a back blessing. They get the first blessing, we get the second blessing. But so many Jakes are rising up. Ezekiel 37. That's why I say Ezekiel 37 is one of my favorite chapters, because it gives it all to you in a nutshell. From the first verse to the last verse, it goes into how Ezekiel sees a valley, which is America, a low land, morally, with bones spread about, and they were very dry, meaning they had no marrow in the bone, no life. There was no hope of life to these bones. And he saw the bones coming together. He saw the sinews, the veins, the blood, the flesh coming together. And as you read down, what is it, the 10th verse, if I'm not mistaken, these bones, the messenger says, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Then it goes into the tribes. And that's why we always say that the truth came out of one West, because that's where the 12 tribes sign came out of, that so many other Israelites go against. If you ain't out there with the 12, and sometimes we might leave the 12 tribes alone, but we make it a point to try to always have that sign out there, because people stop and look, and they identify themselves. Like a lot of Latins, they'll look and they'll notice the Dominicans, and they'll notice that there's Simeon. What's this all about? And they'll ask, and we'll break it down to them.
Bible, was there a man named Gentile, and he had children called Gentiles? Where are they at? And they couldn't answer the question. And I said, are we the Egyptians, or are we the Cushites? And they couldn't answer the question. And I said, this is a problem, because
And see, he believes that the Egyptians and the Cushites are Israelites. They're not Israelites. Cushites, Ethiopians are Cushites. Egyptians are people of Mizraim, sons of Ham. So he needs to really get with. He really needs to watch the GMS videos, and then the IUIC and the ICPK, because they give a lot of knowledge too. They just don't have 100% truth. If he wants the straight skinny on 100% truth, you got to get with GMS.
Obviously, there's people in the world that say that they're Greeks, they say that they're Italians, they say that they're Chinese, they say that they're Jewish, they say that they're Arabs, or say that they're Ishmaelites. But we have this notion of we're black, which is a color. We're African American. We're colored. We're Negro. These are all bywords. These only give us a sense of who we are, our nationality. And that's when I asked God to show me the truth. And then once He started showing me the truth, the book Hebrews to Negroes came out of that, and the movie Hebrews to Negroes came out of that.
So would you consider yourself, because this is one of the things that I've seen online.
I believe, but I could be wrong. He can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he got some of the information from the one Westers, High Priest Ariah and them. But like I said, I could be wrong. But a lot of these Israelites, they pick up stuff from here, pick up a little bit from here, from this congregation. That's why there's so many various doctrines, even among the one Westers. Okay?
A lot of people are familiar with the Hebrew Israelites being those who are streetcars in the cities.
That's the one Westers. You think of Israelites on the street corners, that's the scriptures that go into Matthew 22 for one, go ye on the highway and the hedges and bid them to the marriage. So the marriage is when the Lord comes back and marries Israel through the Spirit.
I guess the entire, and some of them can be very vulgar, very offensive. Is that what you are?
No, people, well.
He said no, because he's not a prophet. He's not a prophet. The Most High hasn't fully opened up his eyes. Like I said, he's just an Israelite that wrote a couple of books and put a couple of films together. And he's probably a millionaire right now. Because when they condemn this movie or the series of movies, everybody and their mom is ordering a movie on Amazon. So Amazon is making money and Ryan Dalton is making money. He doesn't have the full truth. And he claims that, well, we'll debate. He'll lose in the debate. He's good, but he ain't that good. He doesn't have the full truth.
I don't have a camp or an assembly or a congregation to where I'm like leading service every Saturday, or I have a classroom and I have students, or followers, and they follow the teachings of me and say like elders or teachers under me. So when you see me, you're gonna see me either on YouTube, in the movies. You're gonna see me in churches or different events like conferences or workshops or webinars. COVID-19, I do a lot of stuff on Zoom now, but ultimately the Hebrew Israelite awakening has hit the Black church. Some churches, Christian churches, have incorporated the Hebraic faith in a way, and they're teaching the people of the congregation now that Jesus is Black. They take down the white Jesus.
That's the awakening, Ezekiel 37. That's the awakening. That's putting this man, not the whole world, the nations, is putting Esau, mainly the small hats and the Christian community. That's putting fear in their heart because we're waking up to the truth. So what's next? When we wake up to the truth, then the truth has to be manifested. You got to be taken down and we got to be lifted up. You must decrease and we must increase.
So the Black Jesus. And then the member of the church will say, why are we doing that? Like, oh, Jesus Black. They say, well, it had to happen over here on the continent so much. Yeah. But, and once you start telling people that Jesus is Black, and then Jesus from the tribe of Judah, and came to the line of Jesse and Joseph.
The other thing these stupid, wacky churches teach that he didn't have a biological father, including that clown Vocab Malone.
You go all the way back to the Bible. He said, well, hey, if Jesus is Black and he's from the tribe of Judah, the line of Judah, then it means the line of Judah is also going to be Black too. And so we put two and two together, and the pastor has an easy way to prove that we are the Israelites. And so, if you have those that started early on, what you call camps, and now remember we're all African American, and everybody comes from different backgrounds. And growing up in the city, growing up in the suburbs, wherever you grew up at, you might have went to jail, you might not went to jail, you might have not had a father, you might not have a mother, you might not have a mother or a father. You might have been a previous drug dealer. You might have ran the streets. You might have seen a lot of domestic violence. You might have had somebody get killed by the cops. So there's a lot of things that shape people's emotions, and when based on experiences. Then when they get into this truth and they find out that we've been tricked, that we're looking at church all this time trying to figure out why are we praying to a man that doesn't look like us, and this race in America is oppressing us. You know, we're looking at Jesus, you know, in our churches, and we're looking at you know, in our Sunday school, you see the coloring books is all Caucasians. No black person in there at all. So you don't need a brown praying for nothing other than the tree, you know. And so once you start telling people, or they start finding out that a lot of this information has been covered up and hidden, or some of the stuff has been stolen and taken back to the museums in Europe, then you can have all types of emotions. And one of those emotions is a feeling of anger, or just feeling like, you know, you've been bamboozled, hoodwinked.
Yeah, so they say we're angered. Of course you're angered. If you've been lied to, you know, if I'm thinking of an example. You have a girl, right? You have your best friend. You find out that your best friend been dealing with your girl behind your back. You're gonna get mad to the point where you want to kill your so-called best friend. He's no longer your best friend, and your girl, depending the rage of a man. What is that? Proverbs 6, around about the 24th verse. You want to kill somebody. So when you've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and your eyes are open, you're gonna get mad. So they want to suppress our anger. We got a reason to be mad. And then these motherfuckers, these small hats, they're mad at us for us waking up to who we truly are. Y'all niggas, y'all motherfuckers are not the people. Y'all are not the people. There ain't no, give me a wall release of Egyptian slavery during the ancient Egyptian, when the Egyptians was a power empire, where you had pasty white people picking up bricks and shit. You ain't gonna find it. All right. So you ain't the people, man. You ain't the people. We are the people.
The trick. And so, depending on the person, you know, they can be vigilant. You know, just like you got vigilant Christians or vigilant Muslims that, you know, they go to the extreme, you know, and they're out evangelizing, and they may throw some umph behind it. Just something might not like the delivery, but ultimately, you know, what I do, what you might see on the streets do, the basis of the message, outside of everything else that people.
By the way, it says, lift up thy voice like a trumpet. Isaiah 58:1, Isaiah 13, the first couple of verses, lift you up a banner, exalt the voice, shake the hand. That means you're getting in your emotions. All right? So this man is going to suppress our emotions. He's going to suppress what we see. You see a certain movie, in the case of Kyrie, and you make a statement, and, oh, I saw this movie, and all of a sudden you are anti, you know what I want to say. So, and then see, this thing backfired on and I'm talking about the ADL, the elite of these people, the heads of these people. They're having conferences now. We got to do something about it. You know, we're just waking up. And we're waking up to the fact that you're an imposter. Look up the word imposter.
You might say this is hate speech. This is black nationalism. This is
nationalism means your nation. You're part of your nation. The small hats are part of their so-called nation. The Chinese are part of their nation. All throughout the world, you got different nationalities of people that they all look the same. Chinese all look the same. You know, small hats all look the same. They're pasty, so-called white people. But we don't have it. Where's our nation? Oh, we're African American. Well, that's a continent. Italian person doesn't tell you I'm a European American. They'll say I'm Italian American, I'm Irish American, I'm British American. So what you telling me a continent? What country of Africa did you come from? Jake can't tell you. That was proven in African American Lives with this guy Henry Gates. He had Oprah and Chris Tucker, and showing them where their line went to, and most of their lines went back to your line goes back to Europe. I got white blood. Didn't even know. That proves that you had Jake all up in Europe. That's why the icons, the so-called black icons, the Russian icons, the icons in Europe before the Renaissance were all Jakes. So it wasn't white people drawing black people. So the truth is coming together.
Black supremacy. This is there are terrorist.
Supremacy just means that you're over somebody. The NBA, the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference, the NBA championships, the team that emerges in the championships has supremacy for that year. You can brag about you having supremacy over another team because you beat all the other teams. There's nothing evil about the word supremacy. You got two boxers. One boxer is looking, as Gabar would always, Gabar, they're looking to hurt each other. One guy is looking to knock out the other guy is looking to knock out the other guy. And whoever gets the knockout or the win, they have supremacy over the other guy. So their rankings go up. Okay? And their money goes up. It's all about supremacy. And then you people, that the small hats, you're saying that we're not the people. Well, that's supremacy right there, because it's not exclusive to you. And like I said, you are not the son. You white people are not the sons of Japheth. He teaches that. He goes off on that. You're the Edomites. That's what we found out who you are. Not only did we find out who we are, but we found out who you are. You're the Edomites. You're the Edomites. That's why they're not going to sit down with us, because we're going to tell them, look, you're Shemitic. You're right. You're Shemitic. We're Shemitic. Semitic is made up by this German scientist or whatever. I was reading it a while back. But if you go through the scriptures and you go through the evidence, everything that's of Edom fits you. You are the Edomite. You descended from the Edomites.
The group of domestic terrorist group, aside all those stereotypes.
And then Jake, you're stupid if you're going out there with guns and you're going out to the shooting range, and the scripture said we are sheep in the midst of wolves. So the only weapon that we have is this truth, is the scriptures, and facts that back up the scriptures.
We typically get when we try to become one or unified is that we are teaching our people that we are the children of Israel. And this is the reason why all this stuff is happening to us. And we need to get back to the law, statutes, commandments that God commanded us to keep, which we don't do. We break these commandments every single day. And because we're the children of Israel and God gave us the covenant, he didn't give the covenant to the Romans, to the Greeks, to the Armenians, and to the Chinese. He gave it to us. So
that's true. Old covenant was the law. The new covenant is the law, but the new covenant is going to be in the form of the law being programmed in our spirits, in our hard drive, so to speak.
Essentially, God is whipping us with the belt using other nations because of our disobedience to the commandments. And if we start to at least do some of the commandments, then we'll start to see some of the blessings and some of the good things that come out of doing these things. Because the other nations are doing these things, and that's why they're succeeding in the world.
Ultimately, we got to be saved. To get the blessings, we got to be delivered. And the Most High is not going to wait for 100% of the Jakes to start keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. The Apostle Paul said, let no man judge you in the meats and the drinks in respect of a high holy day, and the Sabbath, and the Passover, and so forth, which is a shadow of things to come. because we're rehearsing the righteous act. We're doing the best that we can. Are we going to break a law here and there? Yes. Paul said that in Romans chapter 7. They said, which is a shadow of things to come, meaning in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to keep the law perfectly because the Most High is going to make us perfect beings on the earth, and we're going to teach the nations the laws. So ultimately, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Starts with the Israelites, and it goes to the other nations. They're going to be blessed in the fact that they're going to know the laws, statutes, and commandments. We're going to put the whole world in order. So this is not that at the end of the thing we're going to kill all the nations. No, we're going to get rid of Esau, the Edomites, but the other nations, they're going to live under their vine and under their fig tree, and we're going to be the Levites. There's going to be a nation of Levites, of priests.
Well, with that, we talked about going into the church, and then when we talk about going into the church, clearly,
forget them niggas in the church. That's a topic right there. Forget them niggas in the church. IUIC tried that and they failed miserably. I mean, well, they did that. I'm not totally knocking them, but I wouldn't have did no shit like that. And if I did go before church and spoke, then as soon as I got rejection, I would have shook the dust and I would have left. I wouldn't go march around the church and be out there for 3-4 hours yelling at people inside the church. That wasn't smart, Bishop Nathaniel. But nonetheless, you went out there. They all know. They all watch. Church people watch YouTube, all right? So they come across these videos. So they know about the Israelite thing. And the reason why one of the main churches you went to was Geno Jennings' church. Geno Jennings didn't want to deal with you because he know he was going to get his ass handed to him. You know? And I understand, and I believe what you said. Yeah, we tried to get with him on email, and he said we're gonna meet. Then he turned it around. Yeah, because he didn't want to deal with y'all, because he knows that he gonna be exposed. Geno Jennings does not have the truth. He got a bunch of dumb Negroes, zombies that follow his ass. But fair words and fine speeches deceive the heart of the who's simple. The people in this church are simpletons. You had the one church, old Jake pull out a 9 and held it sideways on your ass, and then the women took off their shoes and started, smacking you over the head with the heel side of the shoe, trying to put holes in your head. And you stand there, and them clowns under Bishop Nathaniel, they stand there getting their asses whipped. Don't you think this is about time we should get the fuck out of here? They're getting smacked and they're still reading scripture. They're getting smacked over the head with some corn chip smelling shoes. As Abiel would say, Abiyala. Yeah, that guy is a funny dude, man. He got that comedic spirit in him. But you had no business going here. What does it say in Matthew's chapter 10? And I'm not reading scriptures, I'm quoting scriptures. Matthew chapter 10. Verse 5, 6, 7 on down. As you read down, 8 verse 9 verse, as you read on down, it tells you don't deal with the Gentiles. Any place that you go to, a house that you go to, see if they accepted your peace. If not, take your peace back and shake the dust and leave. Y'all didn't do that. Y'all out there marching. Who's the King Christ? Who's the King Christ? Who the King Christ? You're not following the scriptures. You live and learn. You see, they ain't going to no more churches no more. You got them former gangbangers in church. Leave them niggas in the church alone. They're gonna get destroyed, and they're gonna have to come back as little babies.
You're bringing a different message. You're still using the Bible, but you're bringing a different. How is it going into a Christian church with a message that's not, well, I don't think it has Christian elements, but it's not a quote unquote Christian message. So how has that been going into this church?
Well, thankfully, usually the churches that do invite me to speak, they are already, the pastor's already been reading a book or my book or anybody's book, or they've been doing their self-studying, and they are,
it's slowly transitioning, you know? Anyway, you can watch the rest of this. If I remember, I'll leave it in the description box. If I don't, exclusive, why did Ron Dalton, a Hebrew Israelite, escape America and move to South Africa? Maximum Impact with Jay Cameron. So if I forget to put this link in, you got it. And see, we ride off the backs of stuff. If IUIC does something and they get, some play on the news, we're gonna ride off of that. So we're gonna ride off of Kyrie Irving. We're gonna ride off of anybody that teaches Israel. We'll be there to explain it even more so. Okay, so I said the sons of Japheth. When you go to Genesis chapter 10, it goes into the sons of Japheth. The sons of Japheth, they don't say too much in the scriptures about the sons of Japheth. It's mentioned in Revelation, in Genesis 10, and the focus in Genesis is really the sons that came out of Shem, Japheth, Eber, Peleg, Japheth and Peleg, and then you had the split there. You had Eber, and you had Terah, the father of Abraham. And the Most High chose Abraham, and out of Abraham's son was Isaac. He had many sons. The line was going to go through Isaac. Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau. The line was going to go through Jacob. Jacob had sons. Those sons became the Israelites. His name was changed to Israel. Oh yeah, there's a video. Let me see if I can find that. Show you how stupid these Christians are. And even these Seventh-day Adventists. I probably took it down, but let me see if I can find it. All right, IUIC. Okay, this is it right here. You can see I saw some of it. So they went over, and they were going in. They were doing their thing. The IUIC was doing their thing, but you got these clowns representing the Seventh-day Adventists. Let me see if I can find this. And listen to this stupid madness. Listen to this stupid madness. This is at the 11 minute 53 second mark of this here video. So this individual is saying, I forget his name. He's telling them about Israel, that were the Israelites. So this guy goes into some nonsense. He breaks down the word Israel, which he told, I don't know what box of Cracker Jacks did he get that from. This is mad. That's why you got to leave these niggas alone that's in the church. You say a few words, you can see they can't get it, move on.
And listen, at the time when he got done, was he giving me? But no, at the time. Like not me.
About Jacob wrestling with the angel, and he said, "I'll not let you go unless you give me a blessing." So the angel said, "Oh, this is the blessing. Your name is no longer Jacob, but your name is Israel." And then the angel breaks it down, as Gabriel broke down to Joseph in the dream what YAHAWASHI meant. He said, "Your name is no longer Jacob, but your name is now Israel, for as a prince you rule with God." So the word Israel is Hebrew, is three Hebrew words, compound word. Yah meaning he, Shah meaning prince, and Allah meaning God. He, prince of God, or he prince God, or he's a prince with God. Another word for prince is a son. If we're a prince of God, that makes us sons of God, right? So let's listen to this stupid madness that comes out of this clown's mouth.
Jacob has understood later on by the writer. Israel is one of an acronym. Okay? Is or ish.
An acronym, you dumb clown. An acronym, I'll give you an example of an acronym. USA. What does USA stand for? United States of America. USA is an acronym. Acronym means an accurate name. GMS is an acronym for Great Millstone. IUIC is an acronym for Israel United in Christ. Israel is not an acronym, you dummy.
Coming from Ishtar, borrowed from the Egyptians. So by the time Moses got the command, it was during the 1500s. But there's a lot of things that happened before 1500 BC that are taken into consideration in these states. Right? We're talking about from the time when Jacob wrestled with the angel, his name was King too. And the question is, at the time when he got that name, was he given that name? Was he known at the time by that name, or was it attributed to Jacob as understood later on by the writer of the Pentateuch? Don't answer. Israel is what you say, is more like an acronym. Okay? Is or ish, coming from Ishtar, borrowed from the Egyptians.
The angel went down, he started hanging around, flying around the Egyptians and learning the Egyptian language. He said, Ishtar, ish. Yes. Oh, I like that word, ish. This is the angel, right? Let's listen to some more stupid madness. And right after he said what he had to say, if I was these guys, I would have got up and I said, look, this meeting is over. We're dealing with a crazy person.
Japheth, ish, is, then RAWCHAA, right? But also a borrowed aspect of Japheth attributed to ish. Then who is the other thing? The Canaanite. So Israel, a conglomeration, a configuration, a free understanding of the gods of the ancient times, being placed together to give this man his name.
You're a complete fucking idiot. And at this particular time, if GMS was there, they would have got up. Okay, this meeting is over. We out of here. Shalak Rayam to you. So let's break down the word Israel. Like I said, that means the angel has to go. The Lord said, look, I want you to go down there. I want you to hang around them Egyptians, like a fly on the wall, and learn their language. And then I want you to go to the Canaanites and learn their language. And I want you to go to Jacob and put the languages together and come up with your own word. You fucking dumb, ignorant, stupid ass, boneheaded Seventh-day Adventist. This is ridiculous. When you make a stupid statement like that, it's time to leave, man. And even my man here is cracking up. He's looking at him as, nigga, are you out your fucking mind? And this guy, he He looking like one of my. I think I gotta go to the bathroom, and he's smiling. What is just that? Forget about these niggas in the church. Forget about them. And you Latin tribes, the Most High gonna rock your world. He gonna set your asses on fire so you can get it. Most High's only dealing with the elect. Anyway, let's deal with that. The angel did not hang around no Egyptians. He didn't hang around no Canaanites. He didn't say, well, let me take this word from Egypt and let me take this word from Canaan. Let me put this word together. And so let's deal with it. When you go to the passage, to the precept, he laughing. When you go to the precept, the angel speak Hebrew, and he spoke to Jacob in Hebrew. Jacob didn't speak to him with an English accent. I will not let you go, lest you leave me with a blessing. All right, because Esau makes some movies, all these different the Egyptians, some motherfuckers got English accents. You know what I'm saying? Fucking white supremacy bullshit. Anyway, I'm gonna close after this. Anyway, the word Israel, he said, you see that? The rod? Ra. No, the word is Yah-Shah. Yah-Shah. Yah is one word, which means he. Shah, not Ra, but Shah is prince. And Allah is the name of God. It simply means power, God, judge. He's a heavenly judge. So when you put those three words together, it's he, Prince God, or he's a prince of God. Fucking angel went around learning the Egyptian tongue, and Canaanite tongue, and you're a fucking idiot, man. Anyway, I mean, I didn't say too much about Japheth, other than there's not too much to be said about Japheth. Japheth is not important, so important in the scriptures. You read about Japheth in Genesis 10, the table of nations, as they call it, and you also read about Japheth later in the New Testament, the prophetic part. You know, Gog and Magog, and then Meshach and Tubal, and then even in Revelation 7, it mentions about Gog. But so the old school way was, the white man came from Japheth because he went up into the caves and all that. Nope. It makes sense that so-called white people came out of Edom. They look like, even if you go to Google and type in the word Esau, Edom, and go to images, you're gonna see a bunch of white men with red beards and red hair and red beards, looking white or red as hell. Not pasty white, but red as hell. So even Google knows that. Anyway, with that, I went a little long. Please forgive me. With that, I'm gonna say shalom.